righty. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, on the Power Breakfast Show, full cast in this morning. We just heard from Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen. We'll hear from Richard Ragobarsingh. Ruben is washing his car. My name is Steve Khan. We'll keep you company until 9 o'clock this morning. That's when Sir Charles comes in, take you through your mid-mornings. Let's see what's happening on the highways and the byways, getting straight into the meat of the matter this morning. Boy. You got some traffic leaving San Fernando. You got some traffic just before Chase Village to Sugar Corners, and then volume pretty much before Monroe Road as you head towards interchange. All right, a little volume by Santa Rosa, approaching Piarco. Slow going from Trin City towards Macoya, and then heavier heading from Macoya towards Uwe. Volume as you pass the interchange, and then traffic heading into Port of Spain. All right, let's send us hellos first thing this morning on this Friday. Yeah, first off the gate this morning, we've got Ken E, followed by Maria Marva. Good morning. Trevor Narima. Garth Celia, DJ Ray. Good morning. Oliver Man Warren, Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. Mo Gaines out in Aruca. CJ in New York. Carol Guevara. Good morning to you guys. Hope all is well. All right. It is 25 degrees at Piarco International Airport, 26 at Crown Point in Tobago. And as the Met Office updated their forecast, no, they have not. All right. So as soon as that's updated, I'll let you know. I don't know why they don't update it. But anyway. All right. Checking some temps across the globe, as we usually do. In Toronto, you're sitting at a 7 degrees, like 2 from yesterday. 25 in Miami, 20 in Orlando, 9 in New York. CJ, big guy. Well, big guy is not there. He's here in Trinidad. Atlanta, you're at 16. London, you're at 15. Tampa, 22. And Washington, you got rain and 13 degrees. All right. At some temps. Let me say good morning. Going out to Paul Richards. Good morning to you. You're muted, my friend.
Morning, Steve. Morning, everyone. And morning, Wendell Stephen.
Morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning, listeners and viewers.
Morning, gentlemen. Hi. It's Friday, the 28th day.
Is it? It's the end of April already.
Pay weekend.
Is it?
But you pay yourself, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
And I wish I did. I actually get
everything else is a stipend for you.
Everything I get is a stipend, actually. Even for myself, it's a stipend.
Because you don't need any more money.
Well, nobody. I can't say that I don't need money, but because
I don't see you need money. I see you didn't need any more money.
I have expensive habits,
So we realize. I think I sent you all a video yesterday of a place similar to Double Palm that I saw on TikTok yesterday, where they were, I think it's called Shh. That's the name of it.
I saw that place.
And it's astounding the way they think of privacy and their potential clients, where you actually never have to come out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
You can drive straight into an enclosed parking area that I understand, I have been informed, leads directly to the room, and you could come out of the room and go back into your car and drive off.
Isn't that what Double Palm is about?
I don't know. I've never been to Double Palm, so I have no idea.
I think I've heard that Double Palm is also the same way.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go.
That is those drive down garage doors now. Those garage doors.
I'm unaware.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I say, there's one right by me, so I see it. I saw when they were building it. Because it was a hardware, it was army hardware, and then
it's still a hardware.
Well,
it's still lumber.
At some point in time.
Building material.
Oh, you're hilarious.
Yeah, I actually think it's the same owner.
Really?
I think the army people are in fact the double palm people. That's what I heard.
I believe so. Didn't we not speak with him one time when they
Probably.
had a home invasion?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's very innovative, quite frankly. I think anybody who can look at the environment at any location and realize there's a need that can be monetized and do it so successfully has to be commended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what he did. The businessman clearly realized that people looking for a place in the middle of the day and all over the day, every day of the
Yeah.
week, to run away and take a little rest and
Yeah.
relaxation and
Rest and
entertainment.
reflection and
Rest
relaxation.
and entertainment.
Yeah.
So they decided they're going to invest in these
Yeah.
runaway spaces and places of rest and relaxation at
Yeah.
very moderate prices. But not everyone wants to spend all day and night at a hotel or motel. Some people
Yeah.
just need to rest for 2 hours or 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. To catch yourself and move on
Catch
again.
yourself a little bit, shake off yourself a little bit,
Mm.
and then head back off to wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
And you may be living far, so home may not be an option at the time.
I'm sure there are people who actually go in there alone in some of those places. You know?
That I wouldn't doubt it, Wendell. One
Yeah.
day. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody goes there for intimacy.
For hardware. For hardware stuff.
Well, they just want to beat the traffic and say, I ain't take that traffic, I'm going to lie down
I
forever.
like that term. Beat the traffic.
Yeah.
Morning, Ingrid Adams. Morning, Riri. All of you, 22 of you already logged on to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Amazon Live. Good morning. It's Friday. We had some sun. We're going to have some sun today, So,
Well,
Let me see.
yesterday I was hopeful we would have had sun, and well, it disappeared in no time at all.
Oh, the Met Office has updated their weather forecast. Here it is. Generally fair conditions with a few showers developing by late morning. There is a low 30% chance of 1 or 2 heavy afternoon showers, thunderstorms favoring western hilly areas of Trinidad. Settled evening and night, gusty winds, gusts and street flooding are possible near heavy downpours.
Well, Lord knows the PNM needs it this weekend, the sun, because the PNM Sports and Family Day is on this weekend up at Toko, and I could imagine the drenching Toko would have had over the last few days. So it'll be needed. That sun will be welcomed up there over this weekend, because I'm up there for the entire weekend actually.
Oh yeah, where you staying?
The activities, I'm staying in Thomas by the Sea, a place called Thomas by the Sea. It's right next to the school. It's a beautiful place. 2 huge buildings the gentleman has there, he and his wife. And so they have 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 1 bedroom, all different manner of things. And there are swimming pools on the compound and the beach is right there. It really is a beautiful place. I've never seen it before until I went up there just over a month ago. And we booked it, because a lot of people are staying up. Actually, Dr. Bernard has a place up there, Marshall Montano, Dad, all these places booked out for the weekend due to these PNM Sports and Family. Yeah, so a good time is expected by all. It should be a huge turnout over the weekend, because we haven't had a family day since 2019, I think. We would not have had a family day. And 2019 or 2020, one of those years. So everybody looking forward to it. It's a good way to get the party together and energized. And of course, you're mixing and mingling in sporting activities and games and all these different things. I'm doing the All Fours as per usual, so you'll find me in the All Fours tent. Easy to find.
Is Rumbox having a station up there?
Well, we're encouraging people to patronize Rumbox as you head up, because a lot of people are going up, as I say, for the weekend. So you could feel free to drop in by Rumbox from today, buy your stuff and head on up to Toko. We won't actually have a station up there, because we'll be up there, but we'll be occupied with the All Fours. That's our responsibility.
Okay, well, wish you all the best. You all are successful. Is it Family Day? Family and Fun Day?
Yes, Sports and Family Day. Sports and Family.
Okay.
up at the Toko Secondary School. It's happening at the Toko Secondary School grounds.
You can imagine if I just happened to stumble up there and end up in a picture.
So why? I mean, a lot of people come to family there, whether regardless
And
of
I
the
have no
political-
problem with that. Steve, by the way, your camera has gone black, Steve. I don't know what's going on with you.
Yeah, my laptop is giving me some. I'll have to restart, but yeah, it's right. It's going to be looked after this weekend, so I'll try and I'm going to restart.
Yeah.
Alright.
So no, I could instantly go and stop by, but imagine me in a picture in a P&M family. Ooh, I've been curly rough.
Come on, take me all fours. Come and play some all fours. You can play all fours.
Very well.
Well, look at that. Just come,
Very, very well.
register, and once you sit down under that tent, is like a all inclusive, well, a drinks inclusive.
Yeah, like
You
a-
log-
I could
you
just
log in the
imagine.
last.
I could just imagine the Monday
could just bring-
headline.
The what?
The Monday headline and picture.
Yeah, Senator Richards enjoys a game of all fours at the Sports and Family Day up at Toko.
Just Senator. Okay.
Yeah, Senator the Honorable, sorry.
Just Senator the Honorable.
Dr. Senator the
Keep going.
Honorable. Again.
More descriptives. And somebody would curiously place a balize behind my head in some way or the other.
Yeah, well, their balizes are done in the road all the way up to
Exactly.
Toko.
Exactly.
From it.
I go watch it online. I'm sure somebody will stream at some point. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah, because there'll be entertainment and so on, so I'm sure the entertainment will come live at some point in time.
Exactly. That's what usually happens at your family place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the political leader will make a statement or two.
I'm sure he'll use this opportunity to probably kick off local government.
Energize the masses.
Yeah.
I actually think he may drop a date. You never know. But he usually drops it in Parliament, so probably not.
Yeah.
But you never know.
But he'll certainly put the party on an election footing for local government elections. I know that for sure. And he'll probably use this opportunity to do that because PNM would have lost Sangre Grande Corporation last election. And that's a corporation they will want to get back. You understand? They would have marginally lost it. So it's ripe for the picking again because Sangre Grande has not settled down under this new dispensation at all. They've had so many issues brewing in Sangre Grande since.
When you say it hasn't settled down, what do you mean?
Well, they've had a lot of issues under this new chairman who also has not always told his party line. You understand?
You're supposed to?
Well, generally, heads of corporations told party lines, but I don't think this chairman has done it all the time because I guess he felt insulted in some way.
Who is this?
Anil
chairman?
Jutaram. Anil Jutaram is the chairman of Sangre Grande. Yeah. He would have contested a seat. He's a councillor, I think, but he would also have contested a general election, I think, too, for the UNC of that side.
Or he's crossed the floor at some point.
He is a UNC. He's UNC, you know.
Oh, he's UNC. Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's UNC is in charge of the Sangre Grande Corporation now.
Oh, this is the guy who went to something that apparently they was not with this. There was a suggestion that they were not supposed to go to or something like that.
No, that wasn't him. That was a next guy from an next group. Well, he has since left them. I think he was from another corporation. I think he was from Pinal Daily. Yeah.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. Anil Jutaram is the chairman of Sangre Grande Regional Corporation. Terry Rondon was chairman for 2 terms up there, if you remember, prior. Terry is still a councillor there. Terry going on almost 30 years now as a councillor.
Okay, that's true. He's one of the longest standing councillors.
He is the longest serving local government
Well,
representative.
it's good for him because that takes a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
On any side of the political divide, that shows a level of commitment to people that you cannot discount as nothing.
Yeah. And happy birthday to Elvin Edwards, former mayor of Arima. His birthday is today. Happy birthday, Elvin. Happy birthday also to Deandra Marshall, who is from Sangre Grande. Popular Marshall family, Charles Marshall, Dane Marie, and Daniel. Daniel is an alderman at Trinidad Regional Corporation. And also Paul Guerra, former councillor at the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation. He is saying Paul is 82 years old. If you see Paul Guerra, you will not believe he is 82 years old. You understand? And even Elvin at 73. You know, these guys look really good. They've kept themselves really well. Donna Marie Joseph and Randy Richards. Randy Richards is from Blue Waters. Very, very, very affable, helpful guy. So happy birthday, Randy Richards from Blue Waters. And Ayana Lewis. She's also celebrating her birthday today. All right. So happy birthday. Yesterday was Makata Lewis' birthday. You all remember that?
Calypso Rose?
Calypso Rose, yes. Her birthday was
happy
yesterday.
belated birthday, Rose. How old was Rose?
I don't know, 300 and something.
Nah, well, don't do Rose that.
Let me see.
Don't do Rose that.
They don't have an age, you know.
Take back that.
How old Rose is what?
Rose had to be 80 something by now.
Yeah, Rose.
Yeah, I think she's in the 80s.
Has to be 80 something.
83 years old.
83.
83.
Yeah.
And going strong.
Yeah. Yesterday was her birthday.
Good for her.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. I see Junior Saldina put up a picture on Facebook today. He's 73 years old. It's not his birthday. He said
He's
that,
another
yeah?
person who does not look his age.
Yeah,
boy.
he's kept himself very well to her.
That's some good genes there, boy. And I ain't talking about Wrangler and Levi's.
Yeah, so. And anyone else celebrating a birthday today, have an absolutely fantastic day. And over the weekend, I think my cousin's birthday is tomorrow, Calvin Strong, aka
really?
Jerry. He is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. You remember Calvin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning to Marcia Rock, locked on in Orlando, Florida. Good morning to you. Beauty Culture. Good morning. Headlines would be, Paul, this for you. Independent senator has crossed the floor at PNM event.
That's exactly what it was.
Looking. But how do you can't cross a floor if you belong to a party?
They were using it figuratively.
Cynthia Ramsarup, good morning to you as well. Thanks for hitting us up a message via YouTube. Rena Budu Jennings, good morning to you as well. There's some folks locked on. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
I would have to leave the PNM family and go straight to the Sunday night press conference. The UNC Sunday night conference one time.
I mean, the Monday night. No, that's Monday night.
Monday's the forum thing.
We'll have to go straight to that right after the day after.
Yeah. Yeah.
To show
Do
equal
both.
opportunity.
Do both. Straddle both.
I'll do home.
Home is good.
I'll do home.
Home is
I'll do
good.
home. So later on this morning, we should have Pundit Maharaj, who is insisting that his comments were not racist.
He insists in his comments were not
Yeah,
racist.
our newsroom got on to him yesterday. He says, nothing I have said can be construed as racist. He defended his claim that urban youth along the East-West corridor are targeting people of East Indian descent in Arangwes. He told News Power Now that nothing he said can be construed as racist. He said everything was factually accurate. The police, however, have said there's no evidence to support the statement by Pundit and Maharaj that people of East Indian descent were being targeted by criminals. But as I said yesterday, if you are racist, you see everything, you could bounce it big toe in the road. You will assign a racist connotation to that because it's in your system.
I want to ask Pundit.
If the sun come up 2 minutes late, you will assign a racist connotation to that. But you get a chance to ask him after.
Well, because he said he doesn't find it offensive, right? So I want to ask him if he will find a comment that East Indian drug lords are targeting African males in East-West corridor to peddle and use their drugs. I want to know if he will find that offensive, because that is also an offensive statement. But
Yes.
someone could arrive at that conclusion
But
that that is.
that's what I said, because if you have generated a racist mindset, you will look at everything through that. Good morning, Richard.
Yeah.
Good morning, guys. Good morning,
Richard.
Trinidad and
Rich.
Tobago. And good morning to our listeners, wherever you are.
Is
How
a
you
hoodie-
going?
I'm
Is
all
a hoodie
right.
you have there, Richard?
What's that?
You're looking like Dr. Rowley with the hoodie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Oh,
hoodie.
doctor. Yeah.
Again, if you see,
Yeah.
if you have a mindset, you see everything through that lens. So he finds you looking like Dr. Rowley. See, a clear example again. Richard Ragobarsingh looks nothing like Dr. Rowley, but Wendell sees that Richard is looking like Dr. Rowley. See, I mean,
With the hoodie, yeah.
that's
I
my
was
point.
specific
You
to
can
the
put on
hoodie.
a white shirt with a green vest, you say it looks like Dr. Rowley, because it's your mindset. You understand? Richard looks nothing like Dr. Rowley. As a matter of fact, I can't remember ever seeing Dr. Rowley in a hoodie.
Yeah, he came to the Power Breakfast show up one morning with a hoodie.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't say it didn't have. I said I remember it.
Oh.
He did
Okay.
actually. Yeah, he did.
So it's a good thing he didn't walk across the east-west corridor. Somebody might have been, Justin Pundit might have said, "Oh my God, he's coming to rob me."
Well, Pundit Maharaj is our guest in the next hour, not so?
Yeah, should be if he answer the phone.
So
Well,
he's-
I'll be very honest with you. I have, as I say, I have a couple of questions here, one of which I've already posed. But I'm not looking forward. I do ever look forward to speaking to people of that mindset. I don't, honestly.
yeah.
But the conversation should be had. He could just maintain his position, or he could change his
That's
mind.
it. That's all.
Well, we'll find out, because he made an offensive statement, and nothing is going to change my mind.
A highly offensive statement. Let me share something with you all. Well, where is it? Why is it not come up yet? Okay, I'll have to seek it out. I thought I had the video. There's a fight that took place in front of a police station in East Trinidad yesterday. I don't know why.
Oh, that's the one you just sent?
Yeah, it hasn't come up.
In front of a police
Right.
station in East Trinidad.
With police officers
No, not with police officers, with some youth.
in front of the police station.
Yeah, okay.
I am assuming the police intervened.
But I didn't see that in the video. Maybe they did after.
Could be. Good morning to Brennan
But
Smith.
very often you don't see the whole context of these kinds of
Right,
stories.
right.
As I'm saying, maybe they did and I didn't
That
see
is
it.
true. That is true.
It's not in the video that I saw. Right, so let me share it. I hope you don't cuss in it here. I didn't know.
Oh,
I
Lord.
didn't listen to the audio. I tend not to listen to the audio. You know? So
It was a fight, more than likely, as Chris said.
Oh, Lord. Just get ready with that volume.
yeah. And that was the way.
Which police station is that? Could be in a back road like that.
Yeah.
Is that La Hoqueta?
It looks like it could be loud. Cameraman is not very good.
But you see in the police station now.
Oh, boy. Yeah,
sorry.
we
Apologize.
Sorry,
for the
folks.
They
obscenity.
can't help it. They can't help it.
I just
Sorry,
I didn't hear
folks.
that. I put a proviso. We apologize for
Yeah.
that.
Sorry about that, folks.
I was afraid that would, so. But anyway,
And there's another video going around.
just get nervous.
Well, some people might be offended by it, so you know,
Yeah.
we can't just presume that people are not offended.
Of the four of us, I'm the only one who really,
Oh, shut up, Wendell.
Oh,
What did
please.
you have to
Give
say?
me a break.
I don't use that word.
Oh.
I don't.
Yeah, right.
Did you all see the other video that is circulating outside a Chinese restaurant? We can't play that one for sure.
Yeah?
We cannot play that video. That one is explicit.
What is
I
about?
don't know if you all saw it.
No.
It's outside a Chinese restaurant, and bottom line, there's a stray dog that is, ravaging through food, and there he finds and decides to eat outside the Chinese restaurant a dog head.
A
Oh,
what?
I saw
Oh
that.
God, Jesus!
I saw that. And I was wondering if that was real.
I kind of zoomed
I
in.
dismissed it as being unreal. But
Yeah,
I didn't know how to take it.
stupid
I did it as a
because-
50-50.
and I deleted it.
yeah.
I was like,
But that brings the questions. I don't see any health officers going around to restaurants that are opening in every corner of the country, you know.
well, I can't say that they don't go.
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, but I don't
I
ever.
don't see. I don't even see.
I have
a
never seen a
sign that
health
says-
officer going to any restaurant. But
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sure they
there
have.
was a time a couple of years ago
Is it
where
woman?
a couple of restaurants were closed down, including well-known fast food outlets. They look at that location because of cockroaches and rat infestations, and it made a lot of news. So it's not that they don't go, but as you said, some of those restaurants that are opening fast along all this place, the East-West corridor, such a interesting place, and groceries. You
No, but
understand?
fast food, those kinds of restaurants are opening across Trinidad and Tobago. It's not
Yeah.
just the East West corridor.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, there was at almost at every corner.
Yeah, yeah.
But you
They're
don't
going.
see.
Well, I could tell you from the Port of Spain perspective, we get reports all the time from public health about their visits and so on. We get those reports all the time.
And what are the reports like?
Call it Center
some,
Ramps Road.
some good, some not so good, some bad. You know.
About health concerns?
I was
Yeah, about conditions at some of these restaurants and so on, how they dispose. A lot of restaurants have disposal issues.
Yeah, because if you
a
leave
lot of it.
a lot of rubbish pile up in front, you're going to encourage rats,
Yes.
cockroaches, and other vermin.
Yes. And a lot of the
that-
grease from the restaurants goes into the drains,
Which also attracts the vermin.
which also attracts vermin and so on. A lot of them have those issues that they need to correct, and also to the
But is-
exhaust.
what is
that
the
exhaust that goes up
Does the
outside the
administration
restaurant?
have specifications as to disposal and stuff like that?
Yes. And that's why I say public health would issue them notices to correct it back. They give them a certain time. And then if they don't, then of course they'll have to take other types of action. You know, the last thing you really want to do is close down a restaurant. You'll use that for the last resort. But some people, and if you remember, there was a story that came out a few years ago, not too long ago, about some Chinese restaurants and their practices. And Dr. Fuad Khan was very vocal about it. So vocal about it that some of his comments were deemed offensive. You understand? In terms of how he viewed all of them.
That's not new to Dr. Khan's comments.
Yeah. We spoke to him about it.
Khan
you know?
often made comments. Dr. Khan was fat and made comments about fat women.
Yeah.
Okay? Remember that?
Yes.
Right, so
yes.
Dr. Khan shouldn't be talking about fat women. At all.
No.
Or fat
But
anybody.
there were some comments.
But he's not somebody who he's a very independent thinker. Let me put it that way. Which is and very often he's on point too. Quite frankly, he doesn't put water in his mouth at all.
None at all. None at all.
Going back to the pundit's comments, he'll be on later on this morning after 7.
Yeah.
And I'm suggesting the question this morning is that he's discounting that his comments were racist. Do you think his comments were racist? We could answer
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
I actually had a question for the morning poll,
Okay, which is
Would you buy a car with the license plate P on it? P-E-E. P-E-E came out yesterday. Would you buy a car with P?
Yeah, why not? And
Why
T?
not?
Did you find that
Why
funny?
not?
P-E-E is out, so.
It took a while before it came out.
I just thought that was funny.
yeah, you could see car sales of what they were because remember about 5-7 years ago the registration numbers were changing very quickly.
Yeah, like 3 in 1 year.
Yeah, they slowed
Yeah.
down a lot. You could tell.
3
they slowed
cities
down
in 1 year,
quite a
we
bit.
used to get.
Yeah, it's not like they're selling a million car off the rack anymore.
Yeah.
But you are seeing a lot. You are seeing a lot of advertising of vehicles taking place and payment plans.
Yeah, a lot of payment plans.
And well, but you see the
No, we're going to your
used
question.
car business has taken off so much in the last 15 or so years. And they don't get brand new. Do they get brand
Yes, used cars doing brand new cars now too.
Yeah,
brand new
yeah.
registration numbers?
Yes.
Yes, you can get
Yeah,
you can get a foreign car brought in brand new. You can get it used, as we AKA foreign used, or new.
No, yeah, they're bringing in brand new cars now.
And they're bringing in vehicles that clearly are cheaper than from the dealer, and with more features.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of features.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very. Anyway,
So we're gonna look forward to what's his name later on this morning.
Pundit Satyanand. Where is his?
He's
where
an
is
avid
Asha.
he's an avid listener to the Power Breakfast Show. He did tell me that yesterday.
He is? Okay.
Yeah, he used to listen every morning. So,
We
good
also have
morning,
Dr. We also have Dr. Vishnu Raghunath.
Raghunath,
also.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do have Dr.
He's
Vishnu
followed right
Raghunath.
after.
We'll follow that interview after Pundit Maharaj, of course. In case you did not know,
You're ready for your morning laugh?
in case you did not know, Pundit Maharaj was the one who made those racist statements, even though he's saying they're not racist, I guess.
Yeah.
But they have been interpreted by a large portion of the country as being racist, including some of his own pundits. Actually,
we called.
I've also indicated that it was racist.
We called Dr. Kirkmehew yesterday, UNC PRO, to ask him about what he thought. And he said, and he's the UNC PRO, that Pundit Maharaj is not a member of the UNC, and the UNC does not support the statements he made. So Kirk told us that. And we then called Pundit Maharaj to tell him what the UNC said. He said, and I am quoting, I think it'll come up in the news later on this morning. He said that he doesn't need anybody's support, including the UNC. He stands by his statement. And he also made another comment, which I would not repeat on air.
So we could ask him about that comment today?
Well, it will come up in the news, so you could quote it after that.
Okay.
I hope Gregory edited it appropriately. You're ready for your morning laugh?
Yeah.
Let me just say hello to a couple of people while you get it.
Go ahead.
Good morning to Carol Mitchell. Good morning to you. Carol
Guevara.
Guevara, Brennan Smith, TGIF, locked on.
Look
while
at Steve
doing
in
my
background.
4-mile walk. Well, you now notice that?
Look at Steve
I
from
just went,
background.
whoosh.
Well done. And then what the innovation will do?
Yeah, again, I'll get a nicer one.
This video reminds me of Steve for some reason. I don't understand why, but it just reminds me of Steve. Did you all see it?
Shame upon you. Shame upon you. Shame
I
upon
will
you.
so
I just saw that
deal,
video. I just saw the Steve card.
I'm so going to deal with you when I see you later. I
You-
am
you-
so
you-
going
you-
to deal with you. I may get a reporter to HR, but I'm so going to deal with you.
Guess
Yes,
what?
you're
I
a
am
jeans.
in charge, so report it to me.
Yes, your jeans fit me, do good, eh?
Yes, fit you well. I give
It
you
fit
that.
me well. I like those colors. Those
Very
colors
good.
look good on me.
It fits you very, very well. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, come on.
He's
You
going
know?
to play it again. Watch. He's going to play it again. I know
I
it.
know.
I knew it. Look how that jeans
It's funny.
fit.
It doesn't beat the one with the dog that represents people over the age of men over the age of 14 type.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, that too.
That one is funny. Every time I watch that one,
Yeah, with the pug.
yes.
Yeah, them and they
Every time I watch that one, I laugh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you don't have it there, Paul, to bring it up for our viewers.
They shouldn't be, I'll try to look for it. They shouldn't be wearing skinny jeans at that level.
I'm going to ask our listenership to send us a message. Do you all feel sorry for me? Yes or no? You all feel sorry for me? I have to work with these fellas. Just send us a message. Yes or no?
Friday, man. Let's have a little.
Yes or no? Do you all feel sorry for me?
Jerry Springer died.
Yeah, boy.
Uh,
Pancreatic
Harry
cancer.
Belafonte passed earlier this week.
Yeah.
You know, so two well-known
Somebody
people.
else
Jerry-
passed this week as well.
I didn't realize Jerry Springer was a mayor at one point
Yeah. Mayor Cincinnati, I think.
and an advisor to a political advisor, strategic advisor to Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
And so
Before he came on television.
he clearly made a mark on television, changed the landscape of television. You are the father. He revolutionized paternity testing, made it very popular.
27 years, bro.
Yeah, and the show used to have security guards
Yeah,
because
Steve.
of the fights. I mean, he really made a
Let me tell
significant.
you, that's Ruben's mentor, you know. Ruben's goal in life was to go to a Jerry Springer show, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
So
When
he
when
passed.
when Jerry
Listen,
Springer was in its
70
high
something?
days, 72.
Hmm.
Yeah. Ruben used to leave wood to go and see Jerry Springer.
Jerry, Jerry,
Wait,
Jerry.
Jerry, Jerry. Come on, Paul.
Yeah. So
no, I have to
he
find that.
certainly he certainly is part of the cultural
The
landscape of
cultural landscape.
television.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, over the last 30 years, and well, over the period that I show, well, it stopped in recently, right? And about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it
3 years
stopped.
ago, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and so he's certainly remembered, and I think globally he's remembered because
Yeah,
it was such
I
a
mean, he made an impact across the globe. No two ways about it.
yeah. Was it the first?
He was 79 years old.
It was the first. Was it the first kind of reality TV in a sense?
But yeah, but no, MTV was there before. But I mean, he certainly made a significant
Because
impact.
he certainly had raw topics
Yeah, he did
that
with a
was
lot of life issues.
yeah, and the combative nature of people
In personal
rushing at each
situations.
other and security having hard fights, etc.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
And it will still go on as reruns. It is funny to watch.
Is this what you were seeking to highlight, Richard?
Yes. Man over 30 in tight jeans.
Where is it? Oh,
That kind of reminds me of Paul.
Oh, hey.
Look, Ray says, yes, she feels sorry for me. Beauty culture says the same thing.
Oh, as Maury said, you are not the father of Jerry. Yeah, my bad. Thank you, Lando, for that correction. Yes, it's Maury with the paternity test.
You are
You see
the
how
father.
you see how on top of things you all are listeners. Very
but
good.
Jerry Springer and Maury kind of similar.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was back on LTV.
Yeah.
yeah.
And all these pretend fights they used to have.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Like the new type of wrestling. You know.
Yeah.
Anne Marie Watson says, yes, good morning to you, Anne Marie, my new best friend, beauty
What is
culture.
Amari saying yes to?
And Marie Watson is Miss Maloney, you know.
Oh, right. To Miss Maloney. Good morning to you, Miss Maloney. When I
Good
ask my
morning.
morning poll, if you all, if our listeners feel sorry for me sometimes that I have to work with you all, and they all saying yes. Keep voting to be ready for our poll.
You think
Yesterday we had a nice farewell function for Krishna Durab Ramcharan. He worked 42 years at the Port of Spain Corporation.
Wow.
Wow.
42 years. Well, 9 days shy of 42 years. He worked at
Started
the
when he was
Port of
22.
Spain.
Right?
Yeah. Huh?
He started when he was 22.
Well, he went straight after school, he said.
Yeah.
You know, and he worked there. He retired yesterday. He doesn't look his age, you know, but he's a real live wire. He played cricket. He was at one point in time acting treasurer of the Port of Spain City Corporation. So he went all the way up to that position, and he retired in the treasurer's department as the assistant there. He's also treasurer for Downtown Carnival. He's been treasurer for Downtown Carnival for the last 10 years or so. But he really is a very, very nice and down-to-earth person, you know. And he had a huge turnout. I think it's probably the first time somebody retired from that corporation and had such a turnout.
But good for him and his contribution.
Yeah.
Really.
You know, those things are not easy to maintain.
No. He is very well liked. And they call him the cousin Kasha. All different kind of names they call him.
When somebody's cuss more than you in there.
But I tell them, I say in all the years I know Krishna, 24 years, I say I never hear him cuss, you know?
Good to know.
Oh gosh.
Good to know. Richard, do you have newspapers?
No, I'm sorry.
I have
don't.
the Express. I have an Express. Let me get it.
Okay. But it's Friday the 20th of April, month, and another month coming to an end this year already.
All right, I can do the Express. Today is Friday, April 28th, and the headline says, "Killers without conscience. Parent of murdered pharmacy owner. How could anyone sleep knowing they are responsible for cruelly taking a father away from his children and causing pain to his family?" That's the main story, and that's the only story actually. And the picture of them, the pallbearers, as they carry his casket out of the church. And in other big news that we might want to call him, Rahman replaced as pharmacy board president.
He said
After-
he doesn't recognize the decision of the voters.
Well, they obviously spoiling for a battle there. After 20 years, Rahman has been removed as president of the pharmacy board.
He's had real problems with real people.
Yeah?
He's had a lot of problems with real people.
Yeah. And he clearly going to have a problem with the new president.
Oh yeah, but I think one of the newspapers is
Sahadio.
reporting he's not accepting that decision and stuff like that.
Who's
So,
the new president?
Clinton Sahadio
yeah.
Okay.
is the new president,
They
right?
were
So
questioning
it's
all these
it's an
fees that were
interesting
being
story.
all these fees that were being charged as consultancy fees.
Yeah. So all that is in the article. So we might want to talk to him maybe next week. Pundit robbed of $40,000. Tell us when crime plan will bear fruit, says Professor Ramesh Diosaran. And bandits targeting according to opportunity, not race, so says the police. And in the back in sports academy rally, Mackenzie leads 5 back, but rain scuppers play on second day. Spurs salvage point against Manchester United. Ballers seek answers after missing 2023 America. And there's a picture of grit and determination. Golden State Warriors, Drummond Green, as he drives to the basket against Sacramento Kings. So that's the front and back of today's Express.
Let's move to the news day. Today, a penal murder victim died. Commissioner of Police must keep her word. Gary Griffith seeks answers on firearms dealers' extraction from Barbados. Opposition on firearm dealer ruling. Police pursued wrong targets. That was a really bitter judgment against the police and their action in that case. US $832 million spent to fight gun trade. Ambassador defends US government's effort in the region. Minister, legislative change needed for digital transformation. Tobago police give murder suspect 48 hours to surrender. There's a 4th murder in Tobago yesterday, I believe. And incumbent president rejects election of new pharmacy board. Of course, that's the question, the new reference just now. I didn't think Mr. Rahman was going to just take that decision just so, but I'm not surprised it eventually happened, quite frankly. He's had a contentious last couple of years as the pharmacy board president. Let's move now to The Guardian. Pundit slammed for creating racial tension. Bond, US will help region battle illegal firearms. South residents tell cops crime causing sleepless nights. Experts, 3D printed guns not worth the criminals' efforts. Motorist challenges licensing authorities' policy. Industrial court dismisses OSHA charges in death of sanitation worker. $4 million needed to complete restoration of St. Francis RC Church in Belmont. And Sipari Corporation CEO under fire. So those are some of the trending stories in your Express Guardian. A news day for today, Friday, the 20th day of April 20.
Of course, one of the trending stories internationally is that BBC's chairman, Richard Sharp, has resigned.
Chairman?
The chairman of BBC.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I saw that online.
Yeah, Richard Sharp resigns after a report finds he breached rules while being interviewed for his role by failing to disclose 2 potential conflicts of interest. But here are the conflicts of interest. One of the conflicts of interest relates to telling then Prime Minister Boris Johnson that he wanted to apply for the BBC chair role before he made an application.
No, you don't do stuff like that. You don't.
Before he made an application, he tells the Prime Minister he wants to apply. And the second involves him informing Johnson that he was going to introduce Cabinet Secretary Simon Case, the Canadian millionaire who wanted to help Johnson with his finances.
Oh.
So, of course, all of this was investigated by the Commissioner for public appointments.
No,
In other
England
words-
is something else, eh?
In other words, they probably think he was curry favoring before he applied for the position.
But clearly he
Yeah.
was
And
kind
they
of
want to
almost,
maintain the integrity of the BBC, not being politically aligned.
yeah,
You see-
it's
you
akin
see
to
what they
like a
operate?
promise. It's like a akin to a
I
promise.
like the
to help
sound
finance.
of the I like the sound of the role of somebody in a position called Commissioner of Public Appointments.
Yeah.
There is something about it that I like, and I think it's suitable maybe with Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, wait for somebody to resign among those conditions in Trinidad. They may have time with that.
Well, according
You could grab.
it depends on the power of the Commissioner of Public
You could,
Appointments.
you could be a minister and grab Boomsy and breast and until the last minute they'll get rid of you.
Obviously, they can have inquiries into. I'm not ignoring you, Paul Richards. Inquiries.
Yeah.
These take forever. I mean, allegations.
But
Pay taxpayer
Paul-
money.
Paul-
You're not paying your door kind of thing, and don't, you know.
Paul, there was a minister also too. You seem to forget that grabbed another part of someone's anatomy too, a young man.
I said Boomsy and breast.
Right, but there was another anatomical part that was also grabbed by a minister, grouped by a minister. You forget, only forget that one.
Where's that? Which part?
Your memory is
minister,
long
yeah,
and
the people
complex.
upstairs.
I can't.
Was grouped or
No.
or they asked where you are down there?
No, well, he grouped the person and said, "Where you down there?"
Grouped the person also. Okay.
Yes. Well, you forget that.
I can't
Well,
remember.
to
That's
my
small.
my memory, maybe he was a doctor, wasn't he?
Yes.
Maybe he was doing a medical examination.
I don't know that he was a medical doctor, but he had a doctorate.
Examination.
He had a
Maybe they
doctor-
were
he has a
all doing
doctorate.
examinations. Anyway,
What are you all talking about?
I don't know. But we need to get the results of our morning poll from yesterday and give you
Private
today's
message
poll.
to Richard.
Our poll yesterday was, do you think that the new TTPS crime plan will achieve its 20% reduction in murders and 30% detection rate? That was our poll.
Maybe I don't
86%.
need the private message you because that was public. That was all in the papers. And not so, Paul?
and Dr. Rowley referenced it at one point on this next one. Asking him about it.
Can
Asking
Steve
him,
give
and I'm
the poll
paraphrasing, but
results?
the
Yeah,
meaning-
I'm trying to give the poll results, all right? So give the results
asking
right
him
after
what the
this.
meaning-
Hey! Trinidad and Tobago is a steel band jam and party in the village. Yes, Hardcore Phase 2 presents Desper Steel Orchestra, Republic Band Exodus, and Hardcore Phase 2 Pangrove with Dr. Len Bugsisha. And the party is with me, yours truly, Mr. Q. It all happens at 13 Hamilton Street in Woodbrook, starting time 8 p.m. Admission is only $60, so see and be there. And the date, the 29th of April, 2023. Hey! Phase 2, we coming!
All right, now, our poll from yesterday. Do you think that the new TTPS crime plan will achieve its 20% reduction in murders and 30% detection rate? 86% said no. 86.
That's confidence
All
for
right,
you.
so let's
But
get into this
20%
morning
are
poll.
confident. Let's look at it from the positive view. So we do fuel fear and crime. 20% think it will help. So today's question is based on the comments by Pundit Satyanan Maharaj, who is insisting that his comments about urban youth along the east-west corridor, specifically targeting persons of East India descent and language, which have been widely condemned as being racist. Pundit Maharaj says his comments were not racist. So our question this morning is, do you think Pundit Maharaj's comments were racist? Yes or no?
Yeah, very simple and to the point. 222 talk 222-8255. North Americans, you can also win on the poll toll free at 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app, you can send your votes there via the messaging portal on those platforms. So do you think that the comments by Pundit Maharaj were racist? Yes or no?
All right.
Richard, you writing, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we could take your messages via our message board and in YouTube as you stream on all platforms. All right. Good morning to you, Sankofa. Good morning to you. Again, once again, Ms. Maloney. Mr. Carapo says yes, it's racist. Ish out in Malik says no. Anne-Marie Watson, that was 3 seconds ago. Good morning to you, Josie Richardson. Are you related to Dion? All right, so let's get those votes in. Trev in Arima says yes. Thank you, Trev. Long Islander says yes. Thank you, Long Islander. Rena Boodoo Jennings, yes, very much so. Thank you, Rena. Oh, got some calls coming in. Let's hit our lines. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I say yes.
Yes, thank you.
Blessed, safe weekend.
You too. Have a great one, huh? All righty. Tell us where you're calling from as well. We like to hear where you're calling from. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, San Fernando.
Thank you, San Fernando. Down there, have plenty tempo. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My answer is yes.
And you're on the road.
Yes, I am. Nearing Kidona. Traffic like that.
Where are you?
Nearing Kidona. A lot of traffic.
Ah, boy. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
No, I
Drive
hear somebody
safely.
say Donna.
I know. I was just going to say the same thing. That's like remember when Richard told us he went Bata to buy his shoes? By Kupalani roundabout. Remember that?
I used to enjoy going Kedona a long time. I had a car with the darkest tint you'll ever see. And boy, did I enjoy Kedona.
Just give the votes, please, Steve.
Folks do this all in silence. Huh?
Our poll this morning, do you think that the comments by Pundit Maharaj were racist? Yes or no? That's our poll this morning. What says you?
Good
Do you
morning
think they were
to
racist?
Dre. Yes. Central Animal Lover says yes. How you doing, Central Animal Lover? Hope all is well with you. Piggy Ray says yes. Rampage. He said, I read the comments on the newspaper. What I read? No. Lorna. Good morning, Lorna. Yes to the poll. Good morning, Carly and Indy. Carly came to the Pet Butler yesterday and bought tickets for This Little Piggy is Tired. In fact, Richie Rich, you'll be happy to know I actually had to call Lisa to get more tickets.
Yeah.
Selling
okay.
like cakes.
A few people called me yesterday too.
Yeah, it just went. Yesterday was just boom. Moneymaker says yes. CJ out in New York says yes. Carol Guevara says absolutely. Mo Gaines. Good morning, Mo Gaines. Giving you a wave. There you are. Says yes to the poll. Cynthia Vega says yes. Mrs.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hell yes.
Richards.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes to Mrs. Richards or oh yes to the poll?
To the poll.
Okay. You're wide awake this morning. Where you going?
Right away, kid. Now, I'm calling from Arima under my P&M blanket.
All right. Usually when you're wide awake like this, you're stepping out of your house. All right, Mrs. Richards.
You know me?
I say nothing.
I know.
Take care. Oh boy.
Morning, Riri. Morning, and morning, JJ. JJ, you're supposed to know who you are, unless you're calling in.
Morning, Ray Ray.
Do you think that Pundit Maharaj's comments were racist? Simple poll. We're going to chat
Yes,
with him.
yes or no? Of course, we will be talking.
Yeah.
We will be speaking with Pundit Maharaj in the next hour. So he's one of
Yeah,
our
in a couple of
interviews
minutes.
lined up. You know.
In a couple of minutes.
JJB.
Kenny.
Morning, JJB. I got a correction. She is JJB. She used to be JJ. She's now JJB.
All right.
And she was the
Kenny
one who
out
called
in
about
Harlem
Kidona.
says yes. Andre, good morning, Andre. Where are you watching us from? Would love to know. Says yes to the poll.
All right.
All right, let's grab this call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Dudu, and good morning to all the guys that is there. My answer is yes. Have a blessed and wonderful day and a fantastic weekend. Bye.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, Ms. Maloney. My doo-doo. Have a good one. All right, let me see. Any more votes coming through here? Carl, what is that? Carly M. Jack. Oh, Carly M. Jack says, good morning, guys. And let's see. Trini Jam says, hell yes. Um, Central Animal Lover said she's going great. Wonderful Central Animal Lover. All right, let's get into, Andre's in Rio Claro. I went there once. That was a hell of a drive from the highway to Rio Claro. Oh my God. I don't know how he'll do that drive, yes? That
Did
road
he
was-
vote?
He voted early on. He had voted yes, yeah. But that Rio Claro road is horrendous. All right, let's get into our 7 o'clock news coming up right after this.
Hey! Trinidad and Tobago is a steel band jam and party in the village. Yes, Hardcore Phase 2 presents Desper Steel Orchestra, Republic Band Exodus, and Hardcore Phase 2 Pangrove with Dr. Len Bugsisha. And the party is with me, yours truly, Mr. Q. It all happens at 13 Hamilton Street in Woodbrook, starting time 8 p.m. Admission is only $60, so see and be there. And the date, the 29th of April, 2023. Hey! Phase 2, we coming!
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Pundit Maharaj defends his claim that urban youth along the east-west corridor are targeting people of East Indian descent in Aranguez. The United National Congress condemns the recent comments of Pundit Maharaj. Meanwhile, the party presents a comprehensive plan to address the root causes of crime. Senior police officers say there's no evidence to support the statement by Pundit Maharaj that people of East Indian descent are specific targets for criminals, and 13 dead as Russian missiles hit cities in the Ukraine. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sindelbab. Good morning. I have said nothing that can be construed as racist, so says Pundit Satyanand Maharaj as he defended his claim that urban youth along the east-west corridor are targeting people of East Indian descent in Aranguez. His comments have widely been construed as racist and have drawn the ire of many persons across the ethnic divide. However, Pundit Maharaj told News Power Now that nothing he said can be construed as racist, adding that everything he said was factually accurate.
Crime being committed in Aranguez against East Indian people. Every person has been held up, robbed, beaten, and in one case, all 4 criminals that were caught were black. It's not my fault. I didn't tell them to rob anybody, and I didn't catch them, and I didn't put a gun in their hand and frame them. That is just a fact. A fact is a very stubborn thing. So what I said was, urban youth, and David Mohammed this morning he was talking about how they came to be and whatever. And I want to agree with everything that he says. It is true. But we cannot absolve them of their crime because of the circumstances of their birth. In Trinidad, we have a tendency to want to shoot the messenger, but we are forgetting the fact. And the fact is that it is the urban youth looking for money, coming to Aranguez, robbing people. What else are we supposed to call?
Pundit Maharaj even suggested that the media was partly to blame for the uproar over his statements. He claimed that people are making comments on reporting that may not be as accurate and accused the media of leading the discussion away from the real issue.
Like this race talk, when we talk about race, we have somebody say hate because they said it without even knowing if they said it or not. And this is the reality we face in Trinidad. Where the media on our slow media day will print anything, say anything to make news. But when media paints a picture and finds a target and paints a racist picture and hangs a racist target on that person, everybody's going to be upset. But nobody's upset about the crime yet. They're upset when you talk about who the perpetrators of the crime are. They're not upset about the crime. They're not upset that a man was killed. They're not upset that a family was beaten free. They're not upset that business people were robbed, not at their business place, but at their home and telling you that we know where you live. They're not upset about that. That doesn't incense these people who are putting all this. What is upsetting them is that in Trinidad, we feel that if we call a criminal, we're calling his whole race.
The United National Congress has unilaterally condemned the recent comments of Pundit Maharaj. The party has firmly stated that it does not in any way agree with or support the comments made by the Pundit in Arangwes on Wednesday. Speaking with News Power Now, United National Congress PRO Kirk Mayhew stated that while the party does have very strong and specific views on criminality in Trinidad and Tobago, it does not share the views of Pundit Maharaj.
He is not any part of the UNC, and that does not reflect the position of the UNC. We state our positions very clearly every press conference, every Monday morning, and we do not take that angle on the crime issue. The crime issue is a national issue, and we take it and we address it at a national level and a national and policy level, according to our crime plans that we have outlined, including stand your ground laws that we will be proposing in Parliament, and also all the various programs of splitting the ministry into 3 parts.
However, in response, Pundit Maharaj said that he was unconcerned about what the UNC had to say regarding his comments. He derided the party and claimed that he has distanced himself from them also.
I have distanced myself from the UNC for a very long time. The United National Congress doesn't represent any political view that I share. Quite frankly, I don't think they have ownership of me. I am an independent person. I don't need to be supported by a political party that is hungry for votes and will sell their mother to get votes. I'm sorry.
The United National Congress says it has presented a comprehensive plan to address the root causes of crime and implement short, medium, and long-term solutions. It explains some plans are for increased investment in education, job creation, social programs, rehabilitation policies, and plans for prisoners, bail reform, and updated law enforcement training, adjustments to ministerial portfolios. Other measures include scientific improvements in training, investigations, and data analysis for crime prevention, new legislation such as stand your ground and home invasion laws, and increased access to legal firearms for citizens. The opposition leader, Kamala Prasad Basasa, said the current crime crisis demands all leaders in our country exercise humility and prudence to protect our citizens. The Member of Parliament for Siparia said that we must set aside vanity and egotism. Too many lives are being lost and destroyed, and they must work together. Well, senior police officers say there is no evidence to support the statement by Pundit Satyanand Maharaj that people of East Indian descent are specific targets for criminals. Senior Superintendent Michael Pear said Maharaj's comments were not rooted in fact. Speaking during yesterday's weekly police news conference at the Police Administration building in Port of Spain, Pear said bandits target their victims according to the time of day or night, opportunity, and if the victim is distracted, but not because of the way one looks. Senior Superintendent Pear, who oversees the Central Division, said that he does not see any one racial group being preyed on in the district, nor does he see any group of people making themselves so-called softer targets compared to other racial groups. An El Socorro pundit was held up and robbed of $40,000 at his home yesterday. Police said around midday the man was at his home at Temple Street, El Socorro, when 3 armed men in a white Nissan B14 Sentra stopped outside. They stormed into his home and announced a holdup. Police said the bandits took $40,000 cash and fled in the car. The pundit immediately contracted the Barataria police station and gave them the registration number of the car. Officers went on the alert for the car with the men, but they were not found. 3 men appeared before an Arima Magistrates Court yesterday charged with the murder of Candice Griffith and Alana Lane and the wounding of 4 persons who were shot on April 17, 2023 in Arima. Brian St. Rose, also known as Joshua St. Rose, 28, Christian Hernandez, alias Manu, 32, and Brandon Hernandez, also known as Hazi, 30, all hail from Temple Street, Arima, were charged on April 25th. Based on advice received from the Director of Public Prosecutions, Roger Gaspard, the men who were arrested on April 23rd were charged with 2 counts of murder, 4 counts of wounding, possession of a firearm, and possession of ammunition by Pundit Maharaj of the Homicide Bureau of Investigations, Region 2. The men are expected to reappear on May 29th, 2023. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Russia has launched a wave of airstrikes against cities across Ukraine, including Kiev, leaving at least 13 people dead. 11 people, including a child, were killed in an attack that hit a block of flats in the central city of Uman, according to officials. And a woman and her 3-year-old daughter were killed in the city of Dnipro, according to the local mayor. Explosions were also reported in the city of Kremenchuk in central Ukraine. Finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, generally fair conditions with a few showers developing by late morning. There's a low chance of 1 or 2 heavy afternoon showers or thunderstorms favoring western and hilly areas of Trinidad. Settled evening and night. Gusts and street flooding are possible near heavy downpours. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 32 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 31 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 27 degrees Celsius at Piarco and also 27 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Recapping your headlines at 7 o'clock, Pundit Maharaj defends his claim that urban youth along the east-west corridor are targeting people of East Indian descent in Aranguez. The United National Congress condemns the recent comments of Pundit Maharaj. Meanwhile, the party presents a comprehensive plan to address the root causes of crime. Senior police officers say there's no evidence to support the statement by Pundit Maharaj that people of East Indian descent are specific targets for criminals, and 13 dead as Russian missiles hit cities in the Ukraine. I'm Avril Sintilbab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
That's exactly who we are. Thank you so much for logging in every weekday morning, 6 to 9, right here on Power 102 Digital. It is the Power Breakfast Show. Paul Richard Ragobarsingh, Wendell Stephen. We got Ruben in the mix as well. And of course, my name is Steve Khan. We'll keep you company until 9 o'clock. Thank you, AV, for our major news. Of course, we do have a news brief coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Quickly take a look what's happening traffic-wise before we give you the results of our poll so far. Of course, our morning poll will stay up until Monday morning when it's final, when we give you those results. Starting out in San Fernando, you're going through Pinal. You've got some traffic there as you head towards the highway. The creek is a bit busy as well. Lighter than usual in San Fernando. Heading towards Point of Pier and Claxton Bay, you've got it. Rivulet Road and the Cooper Main Road, you head to Point Lisa's, also a bit tricky this morning. Chaguanas Main Road is heavy. You're going to pick up traffic. Charlieville towards the interchange, and then head west towards Port of Spain. You've got traffic. Caroni, you've got to head in towards Ibis Gardens, the southern main road. Leaving Chaguanas towards Chinchin Road, also a bit heavy. Piarco to Uwe. Trin City Central Road is heavy. Eastern Main Road going to Taqueria, Macoya, Paget, also busy. And from the interchange heading towards Mobile Junction on the Eastern Main Road, you've got some traffic going up Lady Young Road. Out of Maraval, heavy as usual. Out of Dago, lighter than usual. All right, so that's a quick traffic update for you. Of course, I got, let's see. I got Sexy San Fernando saying yes. Burning Loose says, listener all the time, die-hard listener from Grenada. Thank you so much. All right, and that's all votes so far. I have Rampage says, what's this? Okay, thank you so much, Rampage. All right, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think Richard will have
our poll question this morning was, do you think the comments of Pundit Maharaj were racist, basically. That's the poll this morning. We had 24 people voting on the poll. Of the 24, 22 of you said yes, you construed his comments as racist. 2 of you said no, you did not construe it in that way. So that's our results. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, through our programming, and we'll give you the final results on Monday morning, because today is Friday and the weekend begins tonight, people. I don't know, what am I saying? The weekend doesn't begin tonight. The weekend has begun, because today is Friday, so we are full-fledged in the beginning of the weekend. And of course, you know, we love weekends on the Power Breakfast Show.
Oh, we
You should
do.
be in a good mood. You should be in a good mood, even if you're commuting, even if you're in traffic. You know, it's Friday.
Let me say good morning to the traffic coordinator for the TTPS, Mr. Brett Batson. Good morning to you. I saw him yesterday. It was so funny. I'm on the Churchill Roosevelt Highway heading east. I'm getting traffic from the interchange, and this is after 2. From the interchange heading towards Curepe. And I'm saying, why is there traffic? Only to realize that Brett Batson, a car was on his side, and they were there. So I pull up and I said, hey, long time I ain't see you. But guess what? You know, I could stay here and talk to you for an hour. Not one car behind me will blow their horn. He starts to laugh. Which is true. No, nobody's going to blow your horn behind you when you're talking to a police officer.
Apparently, a licensing authority policy preventing all transactions in relation to a vehicle until all traffic tickets issued to drivers who used it are paid is under legal challenge. You understand that, right? In other words, there is a licensing authority policy preventing all transactions in relation to a vehicle. If you're doing a transaction concerning a vehicle, until all traffic tickets issued to drivers who used it are paid.
Yeah. What? If you want to transfer, so if you have 10 tickets, Richard, and I want to buy your car, we cannot transfer until all those tickets are paid.
Yeah, it's now under legal challenge.
I don't know.
It should be.
I don't know if it's
earlier this week, Curepe-based auto body mechanic Neil Thomas, who was prevented from having his vehicle inspected because a driver authorized by its previous owner did not pay a ticket, was granted leave to pursue a judicial review lawsuit over policy. In his court filings obtained by the newspaper, Thomas claimed that he purchased a Nissan Wing Road from a woman in July last year.
Does that include union driver's permit?
No, concerning the vehicle.
Yeah, the vehicle.
Yeah,
after paying $30,000 to the woman,
I know his
they
driver.
went to the licensing authority at Ryson Road in Port of Spain to transfer the vehicle. A licensing officer inspected the vehicle's engine and chassis numbers before verbally approving the transaction. On February 13th, Thomas was dropping his daughter at school in El Dorado when he received a fixed penalty traffic ticket from a traffic warden for using his cell phone while driving. When Thomas sought to have his vehicle inspected at a private inspection garage the following month, he was told that he could not do so until a $1,000 ticket linked to the vehicle was paid. After explaining that he had already paid the ticket he received, the vehicle inspector told him that the ticket was not issued to him or the previous owner, but to a third party. Thomas confirmed the information through the Ministry of Works and Transport online database and sought to contact the driver who received the ticket. The driver advised him of the purported policy and advised that he pay the fine quickly, as it would increase the longer it remained unpaid. He then contacted the authority, which informed him that the fine now stood at $1,500. After threatening to file a lawsuit over the policy, the ministry's permanent secretary wrote to him apologizing for what transpired and advising him that he could now have his vehicle inspected at any testing station.
Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, let's say good morning, good night to Pundit Maharaj. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm tempted not to answer you because you can't seem to get my name right.
It seemed that way, didn't it?
No, it's not. My name is Satyanan Maharaj.
There you go.
Right? So let's
That's what happens. That's what happens when you have too much doubles for breakfast.
Tell me about it.
All right. Well, welcome. Of
So
course,
good morning to you, and of course, good morning to your listeners.
Yep.
I am so happy that I was contacted yesterday to speak on this matter, this very burning matter that has been eating up this country. I lost track of you a couple of years ago when you went online.
Yes.
Because I was one of the people that got my news from Power 102. And, I got all the burning topics of the day from Power 102. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to find you guys again.
Wonderful.
After so many years.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'll forward you the app. Of course, Paul Richards, Wendell Stephen, and Richard Ragobarsingh on the show today.
Right.
Good morning, Pundit Maharaj.
Yeah, that'll be the safer way to go.
You take the easy way.
Well, yeah, that's the safer way to go. Pundit Maharaj.
All right. I just feel the need at times to correct people because, we celebrate in a few days Indian Heritage Month, Indian Arrival Day. And sometimes it is annoying to know that you've been here 100 and how much years and people still can't say anything.
Okay. Yeah. So it's Satyanan, right?
That's right.
Got it. All right. So good morning, Pune. But let me paint a scenario, Pundit, because you would have made a statement that a lot of people, and myself included, thinks offensive. And you don't think it's offensive, right? So
right.
let me ask.
Let's pick up and right there before we go further. Now, the media needs to be particularly careful about reporting second-hand news. On my Facebook, you can find the entire presentation. I had my lawyers look at it. I had distinguished people of the media look at it. And what was reported and what was written, what was reported after, was not the entirety of what was discussed. There were a number of clergy present, all who contributed to the discussion. Fortunately or unfortunately, it has fallen on my shoulders to defend everybody else's position. But go ahead.
Well, maybe you might want to maybe you might want to just precede what you would have said quickly before we get into the interview.
It was almost 2 hours of presentation. I am good. I'm not that good. However, okay. I know that the words that are causing the hurt are words like urban youth, but the full term was urban youth young members. That's one correction that has to be made.
Right.
Far be it for me and miscreants of the East-West corridor. So far be it for me to understand while people are up in arms about these particular terms, when these are real terms that exist in our society. I don't understand why people, and you have to get me to understand this, why people would identify with gang members and come to their rescue when they are not so equally incensed about the criminal activities and the rise in criminal activity, particularly. And we were speaking specifically about Arangwes. That's what it was. It wasn't a national discussion on crime. We were not collating information from west of the lighthouse and into central Trinidad and south Trinidad. So what's
the connection? Yeah. What's the connection, Pundit?
Let me finish. So I want to put this in context because I think this is being taken as a national discussion. We were speaking specifically about Arangwes and East Indian areas, even though we have, and I took pains to mention this, we have a lot of rental units in Arangwes. And but still, East Indians dominate the Arangwes landscape in terms of business, home ownership, and so on. It is an Indo society predominantly that has grown over the years. So go ahead.
So were you? So I'm happy that you zeroed in on Arangwes, right? They said that the discussion was specific to Arangwes area, right? And you and your comment related to urban youth who are involved in gangs and so on.
No.
Miscreants along the East-West corridor.
I want to keep that term alive because that seems to be the bone of contention with this discussion.
Okay. Well,
everybody runs out to discuss.
If I'm allowed, if I can be allowed, if I can be allowed to finish the point that I'm building on and the question that I have.
I'm losing you a little bit. So,
all right, now I'll come closer to the microphone. Is it then that you were not concerned, and I'm giving you the opportunity to respond here, about when those same urban youth and gang members were killing one another in their respective areas, as opposed to it happening in Arangwes, where you decided, where it was your opinion that they are killing the East Indians now?
all right. So there has been, contrary to what the senior superintendent put out yesterday. First, he refers. Let me deal with what I want to say. That puts in context what the question you asked. Senior superintendent comes and said there is no data to support our claims. I want to let the senior superintendent know that we have victims to support our claims. Real people who have been terrorized. The Ghani family. There's another family that on the same day that Mr. Ramjatan was killed, was robbed of $100,000. They all East Indian. Some of my farmers were robbed coming from the bank and so on. The people that have been doing this crime, and they want me to put a finer point on it. Urban youth gang members coming in teams of 5s and 3s, knowing who their targets are, being very quick about it, getting away very quickly and so on. Coming back to your assertion that if I am not concerned about other communities being robbed and terrorized, can you point out to me in the last 10 days how many of these communities have been robbed and terrorized by urban youth gang members in the streets of East West Corridor?
Well, I don't know that we can narrow it. I don't know.
That's right. So you're asking me if I'm not concerned.
Yeah.
But
have you been ever concerned?
I'm asking you, is there the same level of intrusion, home invasion, and beatings of elderly ladies and so on, young boys in those communities? Now, crime can be separated, especially murder and so on, the crimes of passion into gang violence, where crimes of passion, we know what that is, we don't need to distill that further. Gang war, where two parties are eager participants in that war. But a home invasion, nobody invites a criminal into their home to beat them and terrorize them. They're not willing participants in a home invasion. A man is not a willing participant in being robbed and murdered, attempted robbery, and so on. So we have to categorize the kind of crime that we've been having in terms of, and then we often throw in white collar and so on. Why we're not talking about white collar? But in this instance, we're speaking specifically to a geographic area, a community in which I lived, in which the other members of the clergy who were there, and I was not alone, although I was singled out for beheading, for raising a particular point. And you notice I was very, very careful not to use words that would pinpointedly describe who the perpetrators were, because in every instance that we can cite, it is one group of people that has been doing it, even though the police, oddly enough, seem not to have data. I wonder how they police without data, how they get their crime plans without data, unless they're telling me that they are, in fact, headless chickens. So yes, I am concerned. The short point is I am concerned about crime throughout Trinidad and Tobago with my mother. We have to start somewhere to talk about it. And I would hope that the clergy in some of these other areas would come out and talk about crime in their area, or the NGOs in those areas would come out and talk about crime in their area. And I'm hoping that this, because we're having a national discussion, and what they've done is really thrown me, this is where I come out of it, they've really thrown me under the bus without being incensed for the crime. Now, I want to point out something that happened within 24 hours, less than 24 hours of our press conference and so on, is that a pundit, a very gentle soul, and his wife, some of the most kindest people you will find, was robbed at gunpoint in El Socorro, where he left the bank, and when he got home, as soon as he entered his property, the bandits came over the wall, took what he had, undisclosed sum of money, because I don't want to make him a target again. Very, very gentle soul. So, and this has happened before, because one of my farmers and then another family, on leaving the bank in Equazi, and it's not the same bank, right? And we've written to the Bankers Association about it, that people coming to the bank are robbed when they're going home with an alarming rate. And yet the Bankers Association has not responded at all, even to the letter. So, yes, we are concerned, and I'm hoping that other members of the clergy and other concerned citizens get on the bandwagon and talk about the people who are terrorizing their communities. And it is East Indians that are doing it, and they have to come out and say it. I will not identify, and I will not become tribal and say, well, because I'm East Indian, they say that. I'm not going to do that. If you're a bandit, you're a bandit. It doesn't matter what your color is, and it doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. If you're breaking the law, you're terrorizing people. You need to face the brunt of the law.
Yeah. But Pundit Maharaj, were you surprised that your comments were construed as being racist? Were you surprised at that?
I as a man of the cloth, we give people the benefit of the doubt. And we always hope that there can be change. But if you ask these people, did they read the whole article? Did they look at the video presentation? More than likely, they will tell you no. So those who have jumped down my throat would have done so as a reflex action. Because if I speak on religion, and I've been speaking for a while, this is not the first time that I've spoken on any topic. I remember when Paula May Weeks was accused of being not straight. I was the one that came out and defended and say that, listen, we are interested in what she can do as a president. What she's done is, of course, a whole other discussion. I have spoken on quite a number of issues. To call me a racist is really taking the coward's way out in not dealing with. And David Abdullah spoke about all the trauma and the stress and the difficulty that youths in those communities have to go through, and I agree with him. And in our press conference, we agreed with him. And we were willing to work towards helping to rescue people from a life.
Did you mean David?
Were you surprised though? Come out to my question. Were you surprised at the reaction to your comments?
I was actually shocked, because without knowing the facts, and with media seems in this country to want to make the news rather than report the news, which is for me a very strange thing, because I've been in media for about 20 years. Right? They prefer to make news by sensationalizing something and turning it into a race battle rather than addressing the real root of the problem, which is crime, which is the urban youth under duress because they are growing up in societies that may only allow them to go on to do the jobs of their fathers and them. And they are not able to escape that cycle of criminality, being born and grown in hotspots. These are things that people are not addressing. They're saying, okay, let's call Pundit Sat a racist, and when we call him a racist, that will solve the crime problem, because now we call him a racist, nobody's going to discuss crime. But crime is a very real thing. And when you understand crime best, sadly, when it comes home to you. When you are held up at one point, then you begin to think, oh my God, we have a problem. But until
some people, I think, Pundit, some people, when you use the words urban youth in the East-West corridor...
Don't misuse my word. The word is urban youth gang member. And I can't really understand for the likes of me why those last two words are being left out. Is it convenient to leave it out?
Yeah. Well, I think, that's how it was, I suppose, edited in terms of what came across on television news. On television news, that's what it said.
Of the worst kind.
Yeah.
That is reporting of the worst kind. It is abysmal reporting. One journalist, and I believe it's the same journalist, of a media house that will not be named, tried so hard to get me to name the people that was doing the crime. She wanted clarification on what I meant by urban youth gang member. If I have to clarify that, I'm living in the wrong country. if I have to go further than that, for the likes of me, I cannot understand why God-fearing people, why citizens who obey the law and would want to identify and cover up for that class of individuals who are obviously the bane of our society, those who are terrorizing our very.
Well, I'll tell you something, Pundit Maharaj. I'll tell you something. Maybe if you had limited your comment, and this is just my opinion on what you just said. Maybe if you had limited your comment to saying the urban youth who involved in gangs are targeting people in certain communities, and didn't go to the extent that to say that they're deliberately targeting East Indian people, because there's different types of people living in Aranguez, and surely I don't know that anybody just looking at a house and saying, hey, it have an East Indian living there, let go there. I don't know that anybody doing that. Because I've been a victim of gun-related crimes twice.
Right. Just as you have entered the mind of those people, and you're saying that they don't know, you cannot say with any relative surety that you do know.
But because I've been a victim of crime too, Pundit.
But in my area, and I had coined the term Aranguez under siege. The person who had come out and declared East Indians won the attack was Pundit Rambachan, who is a different individual from me. I know that sometimes all Indians.
So you didn't say that then?
Later on discussion, for clarity, I repeated it. But in the opening salvo, it was Pundit Rambachan who identified that East Indians were under attack. I had chosen to use a geographic name, which was Aranguez under siege. Aranguez is still about maybe 90% East Indian. Most of the homeowners are East Indian. Most of the business community are East Indian, and so on. So media has to be true in reporting the news. So perhaps it was a slow news day, and they needed to ramp up sales. I don't know. But in Trinidad and Tobago, we have to be very, very careful about when we repeat other people's words taken from a third party, because the entire discussion can be skewed another way. What the discussion we should be having this morning, gentlemen, is crime. And the discussion we should be having is, why are there so many guns in the hands of criminals? The discussion we should be having this morning is, and I said it, the interagency task force is Aranguez South, right? They are situated in Aranguez South, where extra foods behind Starbucks, if I want to give you a geographic location. There is a substation in Aranguez, just in Ikweze. There is Summer Hill. There is the Barge Area Police Station. We are surrounded by police. Surrounded. Yet the brave and the bold bandits have no problem in robbing us almost weekly. And yet the police senior superintendent said there's no data. There's no data because data seems not to be collected in this country in terms of criminality, crimes, age, perpetrators, and so on. And this is the same police force that has an abysmally low rate of crime detection. If they don't catch you in the act, they don't catch you at all.
Well, would you find it equally offensive then if someone was to say, and nobody has said it, but if someone was to say that East Indian drug lords are targeting people on the East-West corridor to peddle and use their drugs? Would you find that an offensive statement?
Why should I take offense to that statement?
You won't find that offensive?
Why should I become tribal? That's what you're asking me.
No, I'm just asking you.
Because, yes, so I'm taking the time to answer you. Do you expect me to become tribal and close ranks and say, well, they shouldn't criticize East Indians because we should protect our drug lords? Is that what you're saying to me? How ridiculous that sounds?
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm asking you if you would find a statement like that offensive.
I find it unoffensive.
Unoffensive?
I find it not offensive in the least. Because if you are a criminal and you are of East Indian descent, how else should you be described?
Well, Pundit Maharaj, I don't know a narrative. I don't know the narratives like that would be beneficial to anybody at all in this country at any point in time.
I don't know. Do we want to now face the truth, or do we want to continue to bury our heads in the sand while our our families are murdered, robbed, and killed at gunpoint? Do we want to do that? Should I?
We have to fix the realities. We have
No,
already faced it. I think we have to
now
fix
take
it.
my generational wealth and say, you know what? Me I care about nobody wrong me, and I go in and raise a 10-foot wall and put up barbed wire, and I don't want to be my brother's keeper. Should I live like that? And then what? When I have to answer to God, what am I going to say? Listen, I was preaching your word, but only to a few people, my people. The rest of them could dead. It's okay. Society, there are no walls between communities, and we have to accept that. We're all here together. I have the benefit of growing up in Arangwell, but I went to a school called Sour Government Secondary. Many of you may not know where that is, and if you do, it is one of the most mixed schools in the island. And I have friends for over 40 years we've remained in contact with, all race and creed in this society. So I consider myself very well mixed in terms of my how I was socialized, how I was brought up. And I was brought up with a certain amount of respect for everybody, because all life is precious and all people are the children of God. We are now being attacked by people who do not share those values, where life and human life are perhaps the greatest crime. They are not respected. So when criminals can come in and beat an elderly lady and beat her son, her grandson, without mercy, should we not talk about it? Should we just leave it and say that there are no statistics to support it? Because what we have, and while everyone is quoting statistics, we have victims. And I am hoping...
How do we fix it?
All right, gentlemen, Pundit, I only have less than a minute again. Closing comments.
I make an appeal to everyone out there to be honest, to stare the problem in the eye. The majority of citizens are not armed. We do not live a life of being armed, and we're calling on the police service to provide the level of protection by way of doing their job, by crime detection and so on, by giving evidence, by tipping off Crime Stoppers, and if you know something, say something, and help to bring back our society to a place of sanity, where we feel safe and we do not feel threatened. Because right now, we don't walk in our yards, because we simply don't know who is coming after us.
Yeah, we speak about that all the time.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if you know, it's a matter of when. And these are a minority that have taken control. And government has, calling on government to do their job.
Yeah. Pundit Maharaj,
Right.
I just think there's a correction to an earlier comment you made. I think you said David Abdullah. I don't think you meant David Abdullah.
David Mohammed, I'm sorry.
Yes.
He
no
said
problem.
David
I'm
Mohammed.
sorry if all Davids.
Yeah, he started
No, the second time he had said David Abdullah.
Okay.
I'm
Pundit
sorry.
Maharaj, thank you so much
Maybe
for joining
I
us.
beat David Abdullah quite a lot. I don't.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital.
Yes,
Thank you
brother.
so
I
much.
wish you all the best. And now that I know where you are and I have an Android phone in my van, I will find you easy.
There you go. All the best to you. Be safe.
Take care.
Thank you.
You too.
All right. Of course, that was Pundit Maharaj speaking with us here on the Power Breakfast Show. As we wait for our second guest to come online, I don't know where Paul is. Richard is transferring to his car.
Paul is right here.
All right. Yeah. So Dr. Vishnu Raghunath should be coming in anytime soon.
Is he logging through the system, or is he doing a telephone call?
He's doing a video.
Okay. Interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Well, he is saying the media got it wrong. But you see, anytime people go to that defense, that I went to school with a mixed school and I have friends, anytime people head that direction with me, that is a red flag. I remember a host on a program saying, the woman who does bathe and change my mother is an African woman, so I can't be racist. I will never forget that morning that man said that. That was his justification for not being a racist. Or not being labeled a racist at the time.
I'm not convinced otherwise by the utterances of the godly pundit. Of my earlier perspective.
Clearly he is backing up a bit.
Well, he's trying to soften and add quote unquote context, but Lincoln, no. Sometimes I have to listen. You can't listen if you're speaking sometimes, Lincoln. That's why I didn't participate. Man, know it thyself. I think Wendell and Richard did quite a good job anyway, so
Yeah.
you don't always have to interject. So.
Well, the only question I wanted to ask him that I didn't get a chance to ask him is what did he mean by the UNC would sell the mother for a vote? He said that.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yes, he said. I heard it in the news. I heard it in the
I call
news.
Dr. Raghunath is waiting to be let in.
Well, I'm not seeing him, so
Because he's waiting.
if he is trying to log on, he has not made it successfully into the waiting room yet. Yeah. If somebody sent a message to Richard, Richard has to log back and he's lost his connection.
All right, let me tell him.
Yeah. Very
Yes,
often people make statements and then realize there's a type of reaction in society, so then they try to add context that was not there originally. So I saw a report that said, he said, and I can't say for sure because I didn't hear his original press conference, people of a particular complexion, you know? And that to me is a red flag. Because it's not only people of a particular complexion doing crimes in Trinidad and Tobago. And to close it in Aranguez earlier is no less racist to me.
Yeah.
You know? Because people from all ethnic backgrounds and all cultural backgrounds are victims of crime in Trinidad and Tobago. So to say Aranguez only and then call the East-West corridor, which is primarily Afro-Trinidadian.
Afro-Trinidadian,
As he said, you know, Aranguez is primarily East Indian Trinidadian. You're dividing people along race, so let's not pretend.
Yeah. And he said that it was a Pundit Rambachan who said East Indian people in Aranguez.
But that's what I can't say because I didn't hear his press conference.
Yeah, he said he just
could be right that the media may have cherry-picked certain things and propagated it. I don't know, so I can't.
No, but he said he repeated it, but it was Pundit Rambachan who raised that issue of East Indian people first. That's what he said.
I'm not seeing Dr. Raghunath, you know. So maybe you want to call him on the phone.
Yeah, I just did.
Well, I'm not seeing him in the waiting room.
Is it the same topic we're dealing with Dr. Raghunath?
And Tobago.
Okay. All right.
I'll be back in 1 minute.
Sure. Dr. Raghunath was our lecturer at UE for local government social sciences course. Yeah. So we just holding on to get Dr. Bishnu Raghunath online. We just spoke with Pundit Maharaj, and who was very, very particular from the get-go that he wants his name pronounced properly. So we spoke with him, and he kind of tried to clear up the issues that we're dealing with. Let's hope some of these issues, I mean, you have to talk about it, but really and truly, I prefer not to. Because my first robbery, I don't know if it was planned, but the first time I was ever held up in my life at gunpoint and shot at, and somebody was shot in my car with me that day, it just so happens it was an East Indian guy and an African guy, two of them together. Both bodies are identified in the morgue after. So I know for sure it was an East Indian and an African. So I don't know where people just go with this race thing sometimes, huh? Ah, Lord, this world too small. And I always say people who have hang-ups about anybody or anything, don't travel. Because you're on a plane with everybody. You're in communities out there, especially places like Orlando, theme parks, where they have every size, shape, gender you could think about inside of those places. So don't travel. If you have hang-ups about anybody, don't travel. Stay in your little bubble, right ways. And don't go nowhere. Anytime you have hang-ups about people, because you never know who they'll put to sit next to you on a plane. And you have no control over that. I've seen videos though with people who had issues with who come and sit down next on a plane and they want the person to be moved. Well, guess what? They move the person up to first class and leave you right there. Don't go on a plane or anywhere if you have hang-ups about anybody. Ah, there's Dr. Raghunath.
Ah, there he is.
Good morning,
Good
Professor.
morning to you, Dr. Raghunath. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
Nice, welcome. And of course, we have
Morning.
Paul and
Morning,
Wendell with
James.
us this morning. Richard is doing a transfer. So anyway, so welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, can we start with the most burning issue?
What is the most burning issue?
Well, there's several burning issues.
Exactly.
First of all, is the most recent burning issue is the issue of Pundit Maharaj. I hope I pronounced his name right.
Yes, Satyanand is correct.
Right. I don't want to be deflected by a pronunciation issue. That there were several people who contend, and he'd been condemned for his comments about the crime in Arangwes and his comments as racist. And we just had a conversation with him, and he continued to steadfastly say his comments were not racist because they were being construed, or a particular propagation of the comments were being construed by the media or propagated by the media. What are your thoughts on his comments generally?
Well, what I will say about the comments is simply this. There's a growing perception that people are being attacked. Now, whether or not they, what we see on social media presents one face, and that is basically the face where people are being attacked, and there's no, well, from my perspective, there's no data to suggest that it's only a simple case of African youths attacking Indians, but the point about it is that is what is being projected. Whether or not it is so, the police has told us it is not so. We have to accept that, but that's as far as I will go. I mean, I cannot say yes or no to what he has stated. He alone will know what he stated. And in terms of his, whether it's racist, it's sometimes you have to ask yourself, there's a difference between saying something is racist as opposed to something being racial. And that's the context in which I would...
What's the difference?
The difference is once you say it as being racist, you are now putting a connotation into there that tells you that you are pitting one group against the other. As being, when we talk about racial, we simply talking about the ethnicities involved, and that's the difference in which I will take it there. But I am not going to defend what he has said or reject what he has said. He has entitled to his own opinions.
Looking at trying to be balanced, looking from the other side, from a sociological perspective, and persons in there are different enclaves in Trinidad and Tobago because of the natural evolution of how the country evolved in terms of where people live. Do you think, without the racial context, there could be a perception of people in a particular area that they're being specifically targeted, whether or not it's by one group or another?
No, I personally, I believe that people are being targeted across the country. It doesn't matter where you come from. So that's the one issue. I mean, I've listened to what the police has said. Police has said that the criminals are looking at soft targets, and once they find soft targets, they're going to go after them. If they believe that people in Arangwes are soft targets, well then fine, they'll go after them. But it's not only Arangwes. I mean, we've seen it in Valsin, we've seen it in other parts of the country. We've seen it in Pinal. But is it limited to those areas? The answer to that question is no. We've seen it in parts of Arima, we've seen it in Tunapuna. And it's not, I mean, basically I think the criminals are going wherever they feel they have the opportunity to succeed, and that's it. And that's the long and short of it.
And also to add that persons of African descent are not the only people committing crimes in the country.
Exactly.
We have a situation in Enterprise where crime was exploded in Enterprise. You understand? So, I mean, but that's a more mixed area. I may presume I may be wrong than Arangwes, but to pinpoint a particular ethnic group with a particular action, to me, as you say, it may be considered racial in some things. Let's go to Tobago quickly and what is evolving in Tobago with Dr. Rowley making a comment about the assembly and whether or not the independents turn Tobago People's Party, though they have a legal mandate, Dr. Rowley called for fresh elections. Let's talk about Dr. Rowley's comments first of all, and Mr. Augustine's, the Chief Secretary's response.
Okay, so Dr. Rowley's call is like any other politician will call on whoever is in government to call elections. The UNC has been calling on the PNM to call elections. Dr. Rowley is not taking them on. In like manner, Dr. Rowley is calling on the THA to call elections. They wouldn't take him on, as far as I'm concerned. They have a legal mandate, and they're going to continue with that legal mandate. Now, legal is different. I mean, I always try to make this to my class, legal as opposed to legitimate and so on. And we have to ask ourselves, yes, it's a legal, they have a legal mandate, whether it's legitimate, whether it's ethical and moral, those are different questions.
Is it legitimate?
It's legitimate from the point of view that the legislation tells us. Ethical might be a different question. Okay?
Why would ethical be a different question?
Well, for all intents and purposes, they would have campaigned on a particular stance, on a particular mandate, on a particular party platform, and now they are calling, they are leaguing on that and saying that we are something else. And this is something that you have now to ask yourself whether or not you should go back to the people and get a mandate based on your new identity. Having said that, however, when we looked at what Dr. Rowley would have called for in terms of the THA calling a new election, if you read through his comments, his entire comments, and not only the specific about calling the election, he went on to allude to the fact that the time you're going to spend setting up your party and so on, that's the time you should talk about calling an election. Well, any astute politician will tell you that I have to, if I am going into an election, I have to prepare myself. And I'm not going to go in there unprepared, literally. And part of the preparation is getting my party functional and up and running and in accordance with the EBC registration procedures and everything else. So one would have expected that that process would, the THA would expect that process to continue, and only at the end of that, then they could be able to call an election, or they will call an election. We've seen it in the past, and bear in mind two other things. Well, at least one other thing. What is the basis of calling an election if you don't have a mandate? And I use the example in 2021, it's same THA. Dr. Rao, after the 6-6 tie in January, by the middle of March, Dr. Rowley had gone to the Parliament and gotten the amendment to the THA Act, which would have allowed for the Chief Secretary to set the date for a new election and so forth. And then they would have had to, but of course, part of that amendment would have been related to the increase in the number of seats. Had that act been proclaimed there and then, the EBC could have started their activities immediately, and we could have had elections by May of that year or by June of that year. But no, Dr. Rowley waited until the end of July. So it was from middle of March to the end of July before he proclaimed that act, that amendment. And why did he wait so long? Was he not ruling without a mandate? And so if he was doing it then, what's the complaint about the Father Augustine and at this point in time? So you have to look at it from both sides, and politicians will always call on other politicians, those who are in office, call an election. Give us the chance to take back power. And that's what Dr. Rowley has done.
Where do you think the political landscape lies now? The PNM is in power. This is the ACA, if I'm not mistaken, or going into the ACA. The Tobago landscape has changed significantly. One does not know now if given the changes in the assembly under Mr. Augustine and the new party, if the status quo remain the same, if a TH election were called, local government elections are due. Crime is high on the agenda. First now to the economy. What do you think this means? It usually has implications to the incumbent generally. Is that the case?
Well, to be honest with
Has
you,
the PNM consolidated its position?
has the PNM?
Consolidated its position.
I don't think the PNM has consolidated its position as at this point in time. In the context of everything that is happening, seems to be trying to undermine the PNM in government. I mean, we've seen what has happened in Tobago. The economy, notwithstanding all that the Prime Minister and Minister Young wants to tell us, people are still concerned that the economy is not as safe as it is. Crime and everything related to that tells us simply that there's a concern. What, however, the PNM could count on is two things. One, the opposition is not as strong as one would have expected that we would have a strong opposition. And I am not going to try to explain that. There are many people who have tried to explain it in terms of the leadership of the opposition. Some people have complained that it's not the leadership of it's not the opposition, but rather it's the media being biased against them and those sorts of things. All of those are different kinds of explanations, which I don't necessarily buy into. But the opposition, the fact remains that the opposition is not a strong opposition as at this point in time.
But why do you see your political analyst and you're making a very profound statement that the opposition is not a strong opposition? Why? From your perspective as an analyst, scientist?
Because the opposition is divided. Within the UNC, yes, okay, so you have the core supporters of the UNC who will support the leadership regardless of what. But then again, to those the people who would normally support the UNC, there are questions as to whether or not the leadership should change, and if the leadership should change. So those are the kinds of issues that has caused the UNC to be divided in a way, and is not as strong as it could be. So it is in that context that I say the opposition is not as strong as it should be.
Taking those two issues together, you spoke about the challenges facing the PNM and the consolidation of their position as the party in power, and the UNC that you said is not a strong opposition. If local government election were called by June, what would be the outcome? Or would there be any change in the present configuration? I know that's a $1 million question for everybody, but what do you think based on what you're seeing?
Based on what, okay, so two things or three things to answer that question. One, local government elections normally have a low pool. And in terms of the turnout, it's low. And I would expect that this year it could be even lower than the normal, which is around between 35 to 40% of the electorate will turn out. If people are afraid with the crime, the economy, as well as the parties in power, they may not want to turn out and vote. So basically, you're talking about a very core of both parties going out to vote. The core of both parties going out to vote will ensure that the PNM will continue to hold in its strongholds, and the UNC will continue to hold in its strongholds. So as to whether there will be any swing on any major side, I doubt very much so. What we have to look at, however, is we have to look at those municipalities, those regional corporations, where there's that, where the margin has always been very slim. So for instance, Toco, Sani Grande, Siparia, those are the two that you have to look at. We have to also look at what has happened. When, for instance, the EDC did bring out the last boundaries report and it was presented in Parliament earlier this year, that in itself attempted to do certain things. In fact, in one place, I spoke about whether the EDC was gerrymandering, and certain people took me to task for that. But again, if you look at some of the the shifts, particularly so within Cuba and within Rio Claro, there could be claims that there was some degree of gerrymandering.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that? Okay, so in both in Rio Claro and in Cuba Tobago, two additional one each in both corporations. One additional electoral district was created in both cases. When you look at the voting patterns in the new electoral districts, now bear in mind that in Cuba Tobago, all the districts were formerly UNC, but there are pockets of PNM supporters in both in nearly every constituency, every community. And what the report did and what the projections did was they took about 13 electoral EDs and PDs, 13 PDs, which were strongly PNM dominated, but within larger UNC electoral districts, and separated them out and put them in one new electoral district. So in that context, based on the traditional voting patterns, where, for instance, in Cuba Tobago, the UNC would have won all the electoral districts. If we are to go on the same voting patterns as in the previous election, the PNM most likely should take that new electoral district.
Quickly before we end.
But that won't change. That won't change the configuration of the.
It would not change the management.
Yeah.
But it allows now for one electoral district. The same could be said for the Miaro Corporation in how. So it is in that context. And no, I did not say. I am not saying specifically that the EBC went out there to gerrymander. What I'm saying, that is how it could be interpreted based on how you look at the voting patterns in the past.
30-second answer for this question as we wrap. Richie, I don't know why his name escapes me now. New minister in the Ministry of Works and Transport, former president of the Chaguanas Chamber. I don't know why his name is escaping me. Richie Sukai.
Sukai, yeah.
And clearly there's an intention to run him in one of the Chaguanas seats. What do you think about that development?
Well, the PNM is always looking for candidates who will be able to win the support from the people within the community. And in the particular case of Chaguanas East, in the past they have tried Clarence Rambarat, he did not succeed. I think they're going to look for a candidate, and bear in mind that Chaguanas East is one of those seats that when there is a division within the opposition, the PNM has been able to slip through in the past. We've seen it in 2007, I think it is, when the COP came up against the UNC. So it is always a possibility. So if you have a divided UNC with any other party, the PNM could slip through, and it is in that context, I think that the PNM is looking for a strong candidate that will go after that seat, and should it play in their favor, they could easily take it.
Dr. Raghunath, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
Dr. Vishnu Raghunath, thank you once again. All right.